Hello, KCD Pakistan. It's really an honor to be here with everyone today. I'm here with my friend Brad McCoy, and we're going to be talking about Backstage. Also, this is not my normal voice, but bear with me. We'll make it through the next 25 minutes, and hopefully you'll be able to hear what I say. So we're going to be talking about Developer Portal Backstage. It's super popular, but not as popular and in demand as my co-host. So, Brad, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Brad, originally from New Zealand, living in Australia at the moment. Been working with Kubernetes for a long time now and just started doing Backstage last year. So we thought that it would be good to chat to you today about Backstage and show you how you can get started and a little bit what it is as well.
Cool.
So, Courtney, what's Backstage?
So, what's Backstage? Backstage is an open platform for building developer portals, and it was created and open sourced in March 2020. So, it hasn't been around as long as you have, Brad, but it has been around a little while and it's been gaining loads and loads of popularity. So, since open sourcing it, Backstage become a sandbox project at the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. For those of you who aren't familiar with the CNCF, you should totally get involved with them. They are the home to Kubernetes and Envoy and loads of other very cool projects and events like the one we're having today.
Thank you. So yeah, it was created by Spotify as well, which is quite cool. It's open source by them as well. So they open sourced it to drive innovation on it. So there's a lot of plugins that everybody's making at the moment. There's some big companies like Roadie who contributes to it. I'm looking at GSOC this year to create one for the Captain project. And then I know of a few other projects that want to do some integrations, which make it quite easy as well. So yeah, look out for some GSOC work coming up. You can find that in the CNCF mentoring repo as well. So you can get some tips there for if you want to submit a proposal as well.
Cool.
So the backstory.
The backstory. So the idea for Backstage originated when folks at Spotify realized that as their company grew, their developers were becoming less and less productive. And they discovered that a huge part of that reason was because they were using so many tools and so many different systems, and their software was literally eating the lives and the world of their developers. So as a result, what they decided to do was really take a deep dive into the amount of context switching that the developers are having to do. Figured out that they were losing tons of time trying to figure out where all of the tools and infrastructure needs were. And so they decided to create a developer portal, and that's how Backstage was born.
And that's how I wanted to adopt it as well, because every company I've been to and will go to has the same problem. So you have legacy code, you've had people leave that you don't know, what's there. You have resources in the cloud that's abandoned. You don't know who owns what when there's an incident. So this is one reason that, there's many reasons I did it, but adopting it, there wasn't really a tool that gave me that central catalog of who owns what. So yeah, I think it's a good story behind why they did it. And then I think that's why it's so popular now, because people seen that gap in the market and they're using it to help, it really helps reduce tech debt and then makes it, a happier place for developers as well. So what is the developer portal?
So developer portals are a pretty new product category. Can also be considered internal developer platforms. But the reality is developer portal is more than just an intranet for your developers. So it's also more than just a service catalog. It consolidates all of your tooling. So for CI/CD and security tools like SNCC, also for Kubernetes monitoring, as well as put services, application, data, all those things in the same place, along with documentation. So all of your components, APIs, as well as tutorials and guides, any charts, things that you actually need in order to be able to understand your tools and your infrastructure to get your job done. Puts them all in one place so that your development team can find them quickly and easily, maintain the company's standards using the tooling that they've been told to use.
Yeah, and some people refer to it as a IDP as well, which is just the internal developer portal. You might hear that come up a bit as well. But yeah, it's good to see everything in just one place, because if you think traditionally, if you have 20 tools, how can you remember all the passwords and remember where to go? So with Backstage, you can just have that one single pane of glass, and you can really see everything relating to that component, which is really great. So we briefly talked about why Backstage. Courtney, what are some other reasons that companies should adopt Backstage?
Yeah, well, Backstage is as hot of a topic as platform engineering is, right? There's just so many teams and companies, no matter how large or small they are, that are struggling to maintain developer productivity as they grow. And so it's a matter of maintaining control of all the chaos that happens for a lot of people, reeling that in and helping people make sense of things. Every company is looking to have speed without compromising their safety, scale without compromising their quality, and they want the ability to tame the increase of all of the chaotic software ecosystem that they have. So they're the main reasons that people are looking to adopt Backstage.
Yeah, I think speed is really crazy at the moment, because time to market is so important that people go extremely fast and they just make quick decisions that, having Backstage can really help you with that, and especially for scale, because if you want to scale through, you want to have different environments, for example. I've seen a lot of companies where they don't really have a dev environment, they just have prod because they don't know what's in prod. So, it's been helping a lot of people scale by saying, this is what an environment should look like, and then you can quite easily scale that to other environments and, testing and really improving. So what are the benefits of Backstage?
So the benefits of Backstage are that it lets any developer create, manage, and explore across their ecosystem. So developers can create new software in seconds, make sure that it's aligned with company best practices. They can manage and own all of their software, which is also a big part of Backstage and why it's gaining so much momentum. It's because developers can actually have full ownership of the software they're developing. And then it allows them to explore their entire software ecosystem, edit, and do different things that they need to do. But above all, it lets them start to collaborate again with people on their team, because they find more time and have a better understanding of what everybody's doing to be able to make the collaborations work.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's not really limited to developers. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, it's really good for management tool as well. So I actually adopted this as a manager first, and I found it hard to push it out to developers. So yeah, it really helped me to see what we have, see who's accountable for these services as well, and then help with the incident management process. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a developer. It can be stakeholders in the business that don't even code. They can see where the reporting, the observability is, the security threats. So yeah, I guess maybe a misconception of Backstage is just for developers, but I guess it's for all people really. You don't have to be a developer just to use it.
Yeah, I think it really empowers developers, but at the same time, like you said, for non-coding people, if you've got a CEO of a company that really has no idea what goes into all of the development software, it's probably a visual tool that helps them understand who's doing what and the actual speed and scale that's going on to better understand the business value that the department's providing for the company.
Yeah. And the slide, Backstage lets any company manage and scale growth. So yeah, you can especially when like people onboard to a new company. Like imagine if you start your new company and you're reading documentation for 2 weeks and you don't even know what it means, it gets boring. Whereas if you go Backstage, you can just like play around and you can see exactly how things work. You can see the dependency graphs, tech docs. It's really cool. You can see, you can just visualize everything in one place, and it's really nice for people that are just starting out, and that helps you scale, grow, and go fast as well with when you hire new people.
Well, and it makes people remember that behind all the software, it's people who are actually working and doing things. It puts the focus on people rather than just the product that they're creating.
Everybody back on Backstage. So
Everybody's backstage. You're backstage. I'm backstage. We're all backstage.
So 20K stars. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, 20,000 GitHub stars, 1,500 contributors, 600 adopting companies. There's just loads of people. Backstage seems to be everywhere. But because of all the reasons that we've been talking about today, right? Stakeholders can have a better understanding of what's going on. Developers feel much more empowered to do the things that they need to do. And so it's just seen massive growth. Also know that the developer community is going to continue to grow in the upcoming years. And so a platform like Backstage that is very much based on external contributions from people, it seems to be functioning very well considering all of the people who are contributing to it already.
Yeah, it's very cool that they open sourced it. I'm really looking forward to see where it goes in the next couple of years because it's going so fast, and it's going to be very cool in 2 years' time. So yeah, so many adopters. American Airlines, I think they actually contributed the Argo CD plugin. They did like a front end. Netflix, obviously Spotify. These are all some pretty big companies. So I would love to see what Toyota looks like. Imagine, I don't know how many people they have, but I would imagine it's a lot. So it would be really cool to see how that looks. And so much more smaller companies as well, government agencies. There's probably like so much more adopters that don't even, say that they're adopters, and there's probably even more people using it.
Well, and for remote teams as well, international teams, great, but for remote teams as well, it's a way that for everyone to be consolidated in one place, not just their tools, but for them to be able to see what's going on with other people in their teams. So one of the biggest reasons that this seems to be taking off is because it's giving ownership back to developers above all, so they can feel like they own their software. So for engineering managers like yourself, it seems to allow you to maintain standards and best practices, as well as be in better touch with your team and their needs and know what they need. But for developers, it makes it faster and simpler for devs to be able to build the software that they want and actually do the job that they like, rather than spending time to find all of the different pieces that they need. It just centralizes everything so that they can work on their projects without having to spend time doing things that they don't like to do. And then platform engineers, it enables them to scale at a much faster pace and know exactly what's going on with that scaling. Create an actual way of scaling that's definitely replicable and easier to manage. So those are all big reasons why there's so many users who have jumped on board with Backstage. What was the big reason that you decided to jump in, Brad?
Yeah, I think it like enables DevOps in our company. So if you have a DevOps team like that's traditional, where there's just one team that sort of does that work, there's still like very much silos. So they still have this misconception of this team does ops, this team does engineering, and doing Backstage sort of brought us together a little bit as well. So making it like inner source where anyone from the company can commit to Backstage and make it better was quite cool, with collaboration also. So really to make like, going to platform engineering where you're making like self-service, making this like a self-service portal where people can come and consume the platform and do it really easy and collaborate on it. That was really cool. So really, yeah, just bring the engineering capability together instead of product over here, ops people here, management doesn't know what's going on. It's just all a mess. So this is where it can really help with that as well. That's one of the reasons I did it, and yeah, we're super happy with it at the moment.
Cool. So
Behind the curtain.
let's look at what is behind the curtain. So straight out of the box, Backstage provides a software catalog for managing all of your software, including your microservices, your libraries, your data pipelines, websites, pretty much anything that you need. It also has software templates, which is a very cool thing. Obviously, templates everywhere help you spin up new projects much faster. But in this case, you can standardize your tooling according to your company's best practices. And that means that you can do it all from GitHub. You just pull the code, start working as all of the infrastructure has been abstracted from it. And these templates really empower developers to be able to recommend certain things, employ the tools that they like the best, and make some basic decisions about how they're going to get projects started. And then obviously technical documentation is a really big thing as well. So tech docs are making it much easier to have them all in one place, create, maintain, and find all the different documentations you need, very much taking a docs-like code approach.
Yep.
And then plugins. Plugins are also straight out of the box. And this is the biggest part of the Backstage ecosystem. So plugins are what makes it powerful, and largely because there's such an extensive plugin architecture. And anyone and everyone can make a plugin. So your company or people on your team can make plugins internally, but you can also pull from external plugins that have already been made in the plugin marketplace. And being able to do that really makes Backstage very easy to customize for your team and the needs that you have. So you pull the different plugins or create the plugins that you need in order to personalize the experience of your development teams.
Yeah, the cool thing is you can contribute back to the plugin if you want to make it better or change, like request changes that could benefit everyone. So that's quite a fun thing as well to do. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I guess traditionally for these sort of portals, you'd probably have your internal one and you've made it yourself and you're just doing the same stuff that someone else has already done. So yeah, plugins are very cool. You can make it your own, but Backstage is very much, it's not like you just install it and you're away. It's very customizable. So it sort of becomes a project, which is very fun.
And it's very cool that you can work on your work project and also build a plugin that contributes to open source and other people.
Yeah. Showtime.
Showtime. So that's you.
Yeah, let's just have so when you're starting out with Backstage, some good resources is backstage.io. So this is what I did when I first came. So I came and read all this, understood it, did a couple of YouTube videos on it. Hopefully this one helps you as well. So it was a little bit of a harder project to start with because you do have to do a lot of work yourself. But because I had a sort of software engineering background, it was quite easy for me. So you can come here and it's really good to explain how to get started. So you can run it locally as well, which is very easy. And I actually run mine in Kubernetes at the moment. So you can see here that this is just using Argo CD to do it, but I have a front end and a back end, and then I'm using Postgres SQL inside Kubernetes to run it as well, just for the data. But everything's pretty much defined as GitOps. So yeah, I could actually delete this and put it back and it would all come back the same. So if you want to look at one, you can go to demo.backstage.io. So this is a very basic one to, to the one that you'll make, but it gives you a fair idea. Anyone can come in to sign in here. So these are some of the entities. So you have component groups, these are your dev groups. So you can come and say, let's look at Team A, for example. That will give you the people in here. So what services that they own, the APIs, the system that they have. So this is very helpful for me if we have an incident at work as well. And then you can come, okay, they own these services, and then artist lookup, let's look at this, and that will tell you how those things relate, Team A, this component, and it depends on the artist DB resource. So this one, you can have your CI/CD. I can show you. So this is not available at the moment because they haven't added an annotation to the component, which I'll show you soon. And you can see how this would benefit you as well. So you can view the tick docs. And this demo is like quite vanilla, but I'll show you another one soon. So this is actually what a component looks like. So it's not actually a CRD. It looks like one, but it's a YAML definition of what your component or service is. And Backstage uses annotations. So if I want to use tech docs here, I can, each repo, you can have a tech docs and the team can manage themselves. And then you add the annotation to find the directory. So I use S3 as a backend, for example. And then I can just put here, this is where it lives, and Backstage plugin will go and work out where it is. So, and then you have your lifecycle, your owner. So that could be, owner guesses anyone, but if you wanted to add it to the group that I showed you before, you could assign it to that in the code as well. So like, this is what a component looks like as well. So I just did like Kubernetes stack, and my annotations, this is where the GitHub projects are. So that will give me my GitHub plugins. It will tell them how to work. And then my Argo CD one, my Kubernetes ID, because I use that plugin, and then my tech docs as well. You can tag it with whatever you want, and then you can put the depends on, etc. as well. So yeah, you can have domains, systems, component, resource, which is there as well. So this is another one that we have as well. So yeah, you can see that if we go here as well, this one has Argo CD history. The security insights is GitHub, but there's no analysis because it's just a Helm chart. It's not picking up any vulnerabilities. Same as Dependabot as well. And then I've just installed the Prometheus plugin. So that's telling me that I need to go in and add the annotation. And then that plugin will register, okay, this is where I need to look. So my next job will be to put the alert in, and that will come up. This is my Kubernetes plugin. So you can see this is quite cool as well, because you can see the service over multiple clusters, not just one. So if you own this service, you can see it over all your life cycles, which is very cool. You have tech docs, security insights, your CI/CD, so you can see all the pull requests, etc. See if the GitHub actions fail, pull requests like open and close, etc. So, and then you can see how it all works, and it depends on Argo CD, Nginx, Cert Manager. So yeah, that's, you can have cost insights as well. So this is quite cool. It can show you cost insights over the services as well. So yeah, I recommend reading the docs, going to demo.backstage. I have a play around, and then quite fast you can get involved. If anyone wants to get help running it in Kubernetes, I'm happy to help as well. So yeah, that's a quick demo. We're sort of running out of time, so I can't do too much more, but we're happy to show you if you like. So, yeah,
I think that's
here's the resources. Yeah.
there. It is.
Do you have any last closing words, Courtney?
No, not really. I think Backstage is a logical step, honestly, for a lot of teams, whether they're distributed or all working together. I think it's a super great way to save people time, but above all, just empower people to take ownership of what they're doing, and especially for managers to be able to see the ownership that's being taken and appreciate it and promote that, and continue to help their teams grow in different ways.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, thanks very much. I think that was a good chat, and hopefully that gives people an introduction. And yeah, if you can reach out to us if you want to know some more, and we're happy to talk to you or to work with you and help you out on it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks very much for having us, KCD Pakistan, and thanks to all the organizers as well.
And have a fantastic rest of the event.